In 2024, 33% of older adults felt lonely, similar to pre-pandemic levels. Adults between 50 and 64 are more likely to report their loneliness than those that are 65 to 80. Now, if you're over 50, divorced, single, widowed, there's a high probability that you are or you experience the feeling of loneliness at some point in your life. And it's that feeling of loneliness that could actually direct you into the way of dating online. If you're enjoying this video, please like it and consider subscribing and dinging that notification bell so you'll get notified when the next video drops. Now you'll have to excuse me because this is a very serious subject and I do have my phone with me so that I do not forget anything at all. But before I start those 8 points, I just want to say that in the space of about an hour, I had received well over 100 direct messages from women of all ages that wanted to get to know me, should we say. Now, in the profile section that I created, I left it completely blank. There was nothing in my profile other than my picture and my name. I gave no other information at all. So here we go. Number one of the big red flags is that soon after talking with that person, they're asking for money or gift certificates, something of that nature. Maybe they've got a problem, they're in trouble, or there's a medical problem or something, but they're asking for money. That should be your first red flag. I didn't actually have this happen to me yesterday, but that is a red flag to look for. And it's one of those things where they may wait a little while to try and gain your confidence in them. But you need to watch that. Another thing to look for is in their profiles. So the first thing to look for is their images. They may put one picture up of themselves, or they may put multiple pictures up of themselves. Obviously, you want to make sure that the pictures match and that it's the same person. That goes without saying. But what you also want to look for is the quality of the picture. Quite often you'll see the picture quality can be blurred, not to the point where you can't see them. It's just the quality isn't there. Now, most people today in 2025 have smartphones that are capable of providing good, high quality pictures. So you need to question anybody that has a picture that's somewhat slightly blurred, where you can see the quality doesn't quite look right to you. Because quite often a technique, and there are probably multiple techniques, but one technique in particular is what they'll do is they'll perhaps find somebody else's profile and then they'll take a screenshot of those pictures. And that's what creates the lesser quality. So look at the images carefully. And I would suggest you even do that before you start an interaction. And if you suspect that the images aren't try that one again. If the pictures aren't crystal clear, then you'll probably want to stay well away from them. Number 3, following up on their profiles. That their profiles look almost perfect. Too good to be true. And we all know that expression about anything being too good to be true. It probably is. But you want to look at the profile, see if it's a generic or if there's things in the profile that don't match, and also the language. And I may cover this later, but the language. For example, I was in communication with a woman from Ireland. I'm from England, so I'm quite familiar with Ireland, and we both share the same language. But I could tell by reading their messages that the English was poor or the grammar was poor, and it just didn't flow like a naturally English-speaking person's language would flow. So there's another red flag. But you want to check the profile to make sure that it at least feels right and it's not too perfect and that everything matches up. The next point, 4, kind of goes back to the first point, that they create a sense of urgency, that there's a problem. And they may not be asking for money at this point. Anytime you feel that there's a sense of urgency, the likelihood is a money request is going to come. So you want to make sure and keep an eye out for that type of scenario. It often means that something's going to come, something's going to follow. And normally it's number 1, it's the money. The next point is if you're ever talking to somebody and you feel comfortable and you feel like you're getting on, is try, if you can, depending on the platform that you're using, to have a video call. That way you can instantly verify Doesn't have to be a long call. It could be a 1 minute long, maybe 30 seconds long. But to have that call and suggest that you have that call before sharing too much information, and definitely before sharing any personal photographs, suggest having a video call. And the red flag is that they're not able to, for whatever reason. Either their phone doesn't have a camera, or whatever excuse it may be. You pick one. The fact that they don't want to do a video call screams loudly that they're trying to avoid verification. Because if they have scanned someone's profile, then obviously the person you're talking to can't prove themselves on video. And that's very important. Don't ask them for photographs, more photographs, a video call, because that is very hard to fake. And you'll find in a link in the description below a PDF which goes over scam alerts in general. It's totally free. Just click on the link below and you'll be able to download it. The next red flag, soon in the conversation within that dating app, they try and move you away from the dating app. And it could be something like WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal, or even like a Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. Something, they're trying to move you away from the original platform. And part of the reason why they're doing that is because they don't want that profile to be blocked. So by moving you away from that platform, it secures that profile because it's probably being used also to attract other people's attention. Also, by moving to another platform, it's a way for them to garnish information. For example, if it's Microsoft Teams, it could be an email address. If it's WhatsApp, it could be your personal phone number. Do not move from that platform until you feel absolutely secure. Another popular scam is after they've kind of secured a relationship with you of some sorts, is they may ask you to make an investment in a business, for example. That is another true red flag and definitely to be avoided. It's not unusual that they'll try and garnish money from you in some form. It could be, like I said earlier, with regards to an urgent situation, where they want you to send gift certificates or money, or it could be the fact that they're saying, well, I've got this great business opportunity, you can't miss out on it, you got to take it. Red flag. The next red flag is that they're claiming to work abroad. For that reason, they can't easily meet up or even maybe do a video call for verification with you. Now, this is an interesting one because I actually had this happen to me yesterday, where somebody actually reached out saying that they were part of the military, the US military, and that they were in Korea. And I've heard of stories like this before where this didn't happen to me, by the way, but I've heard of this story before where they build this whole scenario around they're in the military and they're abroad and they build a confidence with you and they want to have a relationship with you when they get back. And they say that, oh, we can get closer, we can do video chats, we can meet up when I get back. And then all of a sudden, at some point, there's a problem. For some reason, she needs money to get back to America. Something's happened. And then that's where the money grab comes into it. I've seen this before through watching YouTube videos about dating scams in my research for this video. And it's very common. And as I said, I actually had somebody reach out to me yesterday saying that she was in the US military in Korea and would be returning back to the US soon, and was saying how she'd like to get to know me and like to meet me and all this. These are the main scams that are out there, and there are probably others. I'm sure there are others. And my suggestion to you, if you see even one of them, don't look for 2 or 3, even one of what I've listed, do not reply, do not respond. Just block and move on. And I do believe that on these dating platforms, there are generally good people who are generally looking for a match. And I personally found it absolutely overwhelming and a horrible experience. And I was just doing research. So it's a direction people use, dating online, and I understand it. But you need to be really, really careful. I would say the majority of people, that's a strong statement to say, the majority of people are scammers on these apps. So if you go down that road, be careful. Loneliness is horrible, I know that, but just be very careful. Cheers.